Okay, so picture this, a movie that was so groundbreaking that it didn't just like inspire other filmmakers.
Right.
It practically handed them a toolbox for like
Yes.
crafting epic stories.
I like that.
You know, and that's, I think, Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai for you.
Absolutely.
A film that, you know,
It transcends.
transcends its 1954 release date and still hits hard today.
It's wild how a story about samurai in 16th century Japan can resonate so strongly with us now.
Right.
We're talking timeless themes here.
Yeah.
Good versus evil, duty tangled up with personal freedom.
Oh, yeah.
The gray areas of heroism that nobody wants to admit exist.
That's such a good point, and it's so much more than just guys with swords, that's for sure. So, to get into this, you sent over this like stack of articles, academic papers, a Wikipedia deep dive.
Of course.
Even Roger Ebert's take on this.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like, I'm ready to go beyond like surface level on this one.
Love it.
So help me out here. Like, what's the mission for today's deep dive?
Think of it this way.
Okay.
You'll walk away not just with trivia to impress, film nerds,
Right.
but a real understanding of why Seven Samurai is like a cornerstone of storytelling.
Okay.
We're talking about how it influenced action movies forever.
Okay.
How it tackles social dynamics that are still relevant.
Right.
And of course, Kurosawa's genius as a director.
All right. I am so there.
Let's do it.
So let's start with the basics.
Okay.
Wikipedia gives us that like classic plot.
Class.
A village of farmers
Right.
is terrified because bandits are like gonna roll in and steal all their crops.
Yep.
So they hire samurai for protection.
Makes sense.
Sounds simple, but
But here's where the historical context gets juicy.
okay.
This is 16th century Japan,
Mm-hmm.
a time of massive upheaval.
Okay.
Our academic paper points out the rise of the Ronin,
Ronin.
these masterless samurai
Okay.
with serious skills
Boy.
forced to become mercenaries.
Interesting. And get this, like
What's that?
the farmers are so poor.
Oh, no.
They can only pay these samurai warriors in rice.
Wow.
Talk about like flipping the script on who has the power.
Exactly. It completely upends the traditional social order.
Wow.
And Kurosawa takes it even further with his choices about how the samurai use or don't use guns.
Wait, I'm intrigued. Break that down for me.
Okay, so
Did they even use guns in the movie?
some did.
Okay.
And that's huge GEE.
Okay.
See, historically,
Yeah.
samurai had embraced firearms.
Right.
But in Seven Samurai, the samurai who die they're almost all taken down by gunfire.
Oh, wow.
It's like Kurosawa is saying that honor and old school combat
Right.
can't stand up to the brutal reality of guns.
Wow. So he's like using the action itself to comment on like how times are changing.
Yeah, it
How
is.
even tradition gets like steamrolled
Yeah.
by progress or at least by firepower.
Right.
It adds a whole other layer to those already intense fight scenes.
And this ties into a bigger theme that runs throughout the film.
What's that?
That line between good and evil. It's blurry.
Oh.
The samurai are the heroes, no question. But their relationship with violence is complicated.
Right.
And even those faceless, cruel bandits,
Yeah.
they're driven by desperation,
Okay.
by a need to survive.
Right. So okay, so let's talk characters.
Okay.
This film is practically the godfather
Right?
of the assembling the team trope.
Yes.
We see it everywhere, from the Avengers to like A Bug's Life.
That's true.
But what makes these seven samurai stand out? I mean, they're all skilled warriors.
Yeah.
But what else makes them so interesting?
That's where Kurosawa's genius for character development comes in.
Okay.
Remember that Criterion essay?
Yeah.
It argues that Kurosawa wanted to break free from those
Yeah.
stuffy,
Right.
predictable
Yeah.
period pieces. He wanted realism.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted humor.
Right.
And he wanted characters the audience could connect with.
And he absolutely delivers.
He does. He does.
Each of the seven samurai is like distinct.
Oh,
like you've got Kyuzo, the stoic, like master swordsman, who
Mhm.
Roger Ebert describes as having like this almost mythical
Yes.
level of skill.
Yes.
And then you have Heihachi,
Oh, Kaika.
the samurai who makes their battle standard.
Yes, he makes the...
He's a good guy.
He's not the best fighter.
No.
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
But his humor and like unwavering optimism.
He's a good presence to have around.
Yes.
Definitely.
He brings that like much needed lightness to the group.
He does. He does.
And of course, we have to talk about Kikuchio.
played with this
Oh, man.
raw, like, chaotic energy
So good.
by Toshiro Mifune.
Amazing.
He's a whirlwind.
He's like a force of nature almost.
This wannabe samurai who throws a wrench in
Right.
their rigid, like, social norms,
Yeah.
but ultimately proves his worth.
Totally.
And you're right, we can't forget that contrast with the bandits.
The bandits are great too because
Yeah.
they're a faceless mass.
Yes.
More like a force of nature than individuals.
Right.
And by doing that,
Right.
Kurosawa lets us see the samurai as these complex individuals,
Absolutely.
flawed and struggling,
Okay.
even as they embody this classic heroic archetype.
Right. It's that human element,
Yeah.
right? That's what, like, makes this film stick with you
Totally.
long after, like,
Yeah.
those epic battles are over.
Absolutely.
But speaking of epic,
Yes?
can we talk about Kurosawa's, like,
Yes.
skills as a director?
Please.
The man was, like, a visionary,
Yeah.
pushing cinematic boundaries
Oh, yeah.
back in the 1950s.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That Criterion essay we mentioned,
right.
it highlights how Kurosawa wanted to, like, breathe life into
Okay.
the samurai genre to
That's
make
true.
it feel like
Yeah.
immediate, visceral,
Okay.
almost like you're right there
Hmm.
with those characters.
And he totally nails it.
He does.
Like, the way he uses multiple cameras,
Yes.
those, like, groundbreaking telephoto lenses.
That's incredible.
It's like you're, like, dropped right into the heart of the action.
Totally. And the way he captures movement is just breathtaking.
I know.
Remember how Ebert described it?
What was it?
A mastery of movement?
Yes.
Kurosawa uses these long,
Right.
unbroken takes,
Okay.
letting the action, like, flow naturally
Yeah.
instead of chopping it up with,
Right.
like, quick cuts.
Okay.
You really feel the scope
Yeah.
of those battles.
Right.
The chaos.
Yeah.
The raw intensity.
It's not like you're watching from, like, a safe distance.
No.
And I mean,
Yeah.
Kurosawa's, like, obsession with detail just blows my mind.
Oh, tell me about it.
He built an entire village for the film.
I know.
Didn't he even have the actors, like, live there
You did it.
to immerse themselves in the environment?
He wanted authenticity.
Wow.
That sense of reality, like
Right.
grounding every performance. And it shines through in the smallest details.
Yeah.
How the actors, like, move,
Great.
interact with their surroundings.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Okay, so we've got this, like, incredible story, these, like, richly drawn characters,
Yes.
and Kurosawa's, like,
Love.
groundbreaking directing.
It's too.
But there's, like, something else going on here, right?
What's that?
Those, like,
Yeah.
deeper themes
Yes.
that make Seven Samurai more than just a samurai flick.
Totally. One of the most striking things is how Kurosawa tackles
Okay.
those rigid social roles of the time.
Okay.
You have the samurai
Yeah.
and the farmers,
Right.
two completely separate worlds.
Right. Like, they can't, like,
Intermingle.
no, there's this unspoken hierarchy, this
Right.
uncrossable line.
He's like, yeah, like with Katsushiro and Shino.
Oh, yeah, good one. He's a young samurai. She's a farmer's daughter.
Right.
And there's this, like, spark between them,
Yeah.
this, like, forbidden attraction.
Yes, exactly.
And it's heartbreaking because you know it's, like,
Correct.
doomed from the start.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Even as he shows us how harsh these social constraints can be,
Okay.
Kurosawa also gives us
Yeah.
these glimmers of rebellion,
Okay.
moments where characters push back against those boundaries.
Push back against those boundaries. Okay.
Yeah.
And Kikuchiyo is, like, a perfect example of that.
He is.
He's this force of nature.
Yes.
A farmer's son.
Right.
Who dares to claim the identity of a samurai.
He does. He
He's
does.
constantly challenging the
Does.
other samurai, poking at their, like, sense of superiority.
It's great.
It's like he's saying, hey, under all the armor and titles,
Right.
we're all just people here.
And his death scene
I know, right?
is incredibly powerful.
It
He
is.
charges into battle
Yeah,
against the bandit leader,
right.
even after being shot.
Oh, my gosh.
In that moment, he transcends his social standing.
Right,
He's not just a farmer
Right.
or a wannabe samurai.
right.
He embodies the very essence
Yeah.
of courage and sacrifice.
And it's such a powerful message.
It is.
And, you know, that's got to be a big reason why this film continues to resonate with us today. Right.
100%.
Those themes of social division, of class and privilege,
Still so relevant.
they're still so relevant.
Seven Samurai reminds us that
Yeah.
even within these, like,
Yeah.
rigid social structures,
Right.
there's space
Yeah.
for individual action,
Okay.
that courage and compassion
Right.
can bridge those seemingly insurmountable divides.
Wow.
And that's something we can all connect with,
Right.
no matter our background.
It makes you think about how often those, like, invisible lines still exist today.
Exactly. It's about recognizing those structures
Right.
and asking ourselves, am I upholding them?
Oh, wow.
Or am I challenging them?
Okay, so
Yeah.
we've established that Seven Samurai is, like, the ultimate blueprint
It is.
for, like, compelling storytelling
Yes.
and, like, timeless themes.
Timeless.
But let's talk about its legacy. We can't forget the direct remake,
Right.
The Magnificent Seven.
Of course.
But you're telling me its influence goes way beyond that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The Wikipedia article is basically a laundry list
Right.
of films
Right.
and even video games
Wow.
that owe a debt to Seven Samurai.
Really? It's like Kurosawa, like, tapped into some kind of storytelling code.
So
It's like primal that, like, resonates across cultures and generations.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it's not just about replicating the plot.
Right.
It's about those universal themes Kurosawa weaves into the story.
Right.
The power of a small group.
Right.
Fighting against all odds.
Yeah.
The idea of ordinary people rising to the occasion when everything's on the line.
Yeah.
These are stories that never get old.
It's that, like, classic hero's journey.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
But, like, elevated by Kurosawa's vision.
Elevated.
He takes this, like, simple premise,
Right.
farmers hiring samurai,
Right.
turns it into something, like, profound, something epic, without ever losing sight of those very human struggles at the heart of it.
And that's why Seven Samurai isn't just a great movie.
Right.
It's like a landmark achievement in cinema.
Totally.
It's a masterclass in storytelling.
Right.
A meditation on heroism.
Right.
And like a touchstone for understanding how action films evolve.
Right.
This is a film that stays with you long after the credits roll.
Right. It makes you
Makes you think.
think about how you would react in those situations.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I might not be facing down, like, bandits on horseback,
Right.
but, like, what are the battles worth fighting
Right. Exactly.
in my world?
Yes.
And am I brave enough to, like, stand up for what's right,
Yes.
even when it's hard?
That's the magic of Seven Samurai.
Yeah?
It doesn't just entertain.
Right.
It sparks a conversation.
Right.
It makes you question things.
Yeah.
Challenge your own assumptions.
Right.
Maybe even inspires you to channel your inner Kikuchiyo
Right.
and shake things up a bit.
You've definitely got me thinking. It's like, we've talked about the film's impact on other filmmakers.
Right.
But what about its effect on, like, us,
Yeah.
the viewers,
Yeah.
the people who, like, connect with these characters and their struggles?
That's the most important part, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
It's a film that lingers in your mind.
Yeah.
Maybe you see those, like,
Yeah.
rigid social roles reflected in your own life.
Right.
Those invisible barriers we still grapple with.
Yeah.
Or maybe it makes you rethink what heroism looks like in the 21st century.
Total.
Either way,
Yeah.
it's a film that stays with you.
So if you haven't seen Seven Samurai,
Yeah.
seriously, what are you waiting for?
Watch it.
Add it to your watch list, like, immediately.
Immediately.
It's a cinematic experience everyone should have.
100%.
And if you have seen it,
Yeah.
maybe this
Yeah.
deep dive has given you a fresh perspective
Yeah.
on an old favorite.
Totally.
Maybe you, like, picked up on some details you missed before.
It has.
Or you're seeing those, like,
Yes.
themes in a new light.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what we hope you take away from these deep dives.
Yes.
Not just a bunch of facts,
Right.
but like a deeper appreciation for the power of stories
Right.
and the conversations they spark.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
There you go.
Thank you so much for, like,
Of course.
speaking out about Seven Samurai with me.
Happy to do it.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Yes.
Keep questioning.
Please.
And maybe channel your inner samurai every now and then.